to come here and be told by Derek or Chuma or the minister that the key we're looking for, I have it in my pocket. It's indeed a privilege and honor to be the keynote speaker for this Creative Industries Business Summit, Zambia 2025. I feel privileged that in our industry, someone who is an actor of note could be invited by another country to be a keynote speaker. It never happened before now. Maybe because I'm also a lawyer now. Well, I would acknowledge the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, ably represented by the Minister of Labor and Social Security, and also recognize honorable ministers in their different industries, distinguished guests, creative colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Let me subsidize the protocols, because I'll falter if I intend to recognize everybody. I hope you all understand the meaning of subsidy here. If I subsidize it, that means everyone is recognized. Many years ago, I stood before a camera for the very first time. We were all guest artists from the Nigerian Television Authority. Before then and after then, not knowing that Nollywood, then just a dream, would one day become a global force. We didn't have access to grants, training, or proper distribution. We only had passion, resilience, and belief in the power of storytelling. Today, that belief has grown into a billion-dollar industry. Yet, I know, you know, we have barely scratched the surface. We're gathered here at the Bushi International Conference Center, not just to discuss potential, but to unlock it. With intention and action. As they say here in Zambia, Bolani, Panono, Panono. Success comes little by little. I think I got that. I'm a Zambian too. There are factors, and that's why I brought this key that have locked the potentials. And I'm going to take a little 3-4 minutes to identify these factors before we unlock it. So I see how my keys locked. And what are these factors? Inadequate training. The absence of a commensurate number of training institutions and funding for capacity building has stagnated the growth of this sector. This gap in skill set is obvious both in front and behind the scenes. Number 2, weak state institutions. Across the entire continent, most of the state institutions are very weak. These include, but not limited to, the judiciary and security agencies. These situations discourages much needed investment in the creative sector. Number 3, distribution. The infrastructure for audiovisual across the continent is either very limited or non-existent. Only a few African countries are have silent or any form of theatrical exhibition. Only DSTV and its brands have stood the test of time in satellite, TV, and streaming. Number 4, state and stakeholder apathy. African governments most times do not see the economic, social, and political viability of the creative industries beyond propaganda for electoral purposes. And I can tell you more here, because I come from a very rich part of the African continent. As a Nigerian, I can tell you, most people who get into politics want to identify with actors during elections so that you give them the visibility and access for the people who vote to identify with, so that we say, KOK came with this man, he's a good man, we must vote for him. It can go beyond that. The stakeholders have on their own part been conditioned to see the sector as second class, fit only to depend on government for patronage. Number 5, funding. No business can thrive without adequate funding. The creative industries are no exception. African governments need to increase their funding for the creative sector. Reliance on formal cultural systems, processes and institutions, family and friends for funding. I have been telling my good friend Jama and Derek Chuba and so on, and I'm telling the Honorable Minister now. Nollywood was started, for those of you who are not aware, Nollywood is to Nigeria what Bollywood is to India and what Hollywood is to America. So that's the name of the Nigerian entertainment industry. How we scratch the surface was through a lot of sacrifice. A woman is free to come. You know, I make sacrifices every day. A mother of the house, like our very dear, beautiful minister, would have a younger brother who is on her neck. Say, Auntie, I want you to sponsor this film for me. Keep it small. Then the tall man here, who is the husband of the minister, presumably, gives her monthly allowance. So she pinches a little and gives to her brother who's on her neck. That's how we build Nollywood, from feeding money. I think that's Zanzibar. Because we didn't have the banks, but the oil doesn't come in. So this is one area you have to critically look at. Funding is a major issue. Then we have 6, low disposable income. The general poverty of the continent has resulted in much lower disposable income and lower value of African financial currencies. This makes it very difficult for consumers to patronize our products, since they rank much lower on the scale of preference after food, clothing, and shelter. 7, connectivity. While seemingly unrelated, it's a big problem. There's a very poor connectivity on the continent, physically and technically. Dilapidated rail infrastructure where it exists, exorbitant airfares, high cost of data have conspired to make connectivity across the continent a nightmare. 8, insecurity. Insecurity makes it difficult to access some scenic locations. I don't know where the history or topography of Zambia, but if you tell a lion to write a book, the lion will see it from his perspective. I'm talking as a Nigerian, where insecurity issues. So I speak from where I'm coming from. I don't know what it is in Zambia, but insecurity is a major issue. miscreants, like we have in Lagos, Alaye boys, or area boys, remain a significant threat. Some areas of some countries are controlled by non-state actors, Al-Shabaab and so on. You can't go to their areas to film, and are completely inaccessible. More significantly, the perception of insecurity poses a major obstacle to the free flow of investments into the sector. Intellectual property infringement. And this is the last factor of what is inhibiting the creativity or the creatives in the sector. Prevalent intellectual property infringement include, but is not limited to, illegal broadcasting, illegal streaming, and downloading, counterfeiting. This has impacted very negatively on the industry by making it more difficult for producers to recoup their investments and discourage investments. Now, ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, let us unlock. If we must unlock the abundant potentials of the African creative economy, and that of Zambia in particular, we must take a critical consideration of the following. Please follow me. Number one, data and asset mapping. Data and asset mapping. The first step. You cannot manage what you do not measure. We must begin with data. A, what is the creative sector's contribution to GDP? Who are the players? That's B. C, what inhibits their growth? Without comprehensive data and asset mapping, we are planning blindfolded. It's like winking in the dark. Only you know what you're doing. If you're chasing a girl in the dark and you're winking, only you know what you're doing. The girl is not seeing you. Information is the bedrock of transformation. Number two, as we unlock, business support and formalization. Africa's creative economy is vibrant, but largely informal. This informality limits access to finance, structure, and scalability. Formalization means training entrepreneurs, teaching financial discipline, encouraging proper company structuring, and supporting small and medium enterprises to grow with professionalism. Number three, funding and investment incentives. Creative talent without capital is a spark that fuel. Creative talent without capital is a spark without fuel. Governments must scale up investment, not just in production, but in the entire value chain: marketing, media, talent, development, and technology. Beyond public funding, let's incentivize private sector investment through tax rebates, soft loans, and production grants. True growth happens when public policy meets private energy. Number four, protecting intellectual property. Piracy has no other name, it is theft. Plain and simple. It has robbed creatives